Welcome to MNCEFT's Meet the Therapist series. Today, I have the great pleasure of interviewing Renee Segal. Renee is an absolute pillar of our Minnesota EFT community and really is right there with our last interviewee, Kurt. The two of them have really made our MNCEFT Center come together. And I have had the pleasure of working with Renee for the past 3 years, with her as my supervisor. So welcome, Renee.
Well, welcome. Thank you for having me. This is fun. I love working with you, Lisa. It's been fun to be your supervisor and watch your journey.
Thank you, Renee.
Yes. Yeah. I'm also a yoga teacher as well, although I'm not teaching currently, but I am a yoga teacher. You can add that to my credential list.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So your credentials, you're an LMFT, you're a Minnesota board approved supervisor, you're an EFT supervisor, and your practice is Evolve Therapy in Minnetonka, and I'll provide information on that at the end of the interview.
Yep. And I also am a Board of Behavioral Health approved supervisor for the LPC or C folks. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Okay.
So let's get started.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah, as we learn about your journey with EFT. So my first question is, how did you become interested in EFT, and what has your journey been from learning to becoming certified to now being a supervisor?
So my practicum was at a place called Neighborhood Involvement Program, which is no longer, which is really sad. Yeah. And so we used to have every Tuesday group supervision, and we were not allowed to present anything without our little recording. And back then it was like a little recording thing, a little teeny little, it was a small little recording thing. And so when I would work with the couples, my supervisor at the time said, "Do you know you're doing EFT?" And I said, "What's that?"
Wow.
I had no idea. I was still in graduate school. I hadn't even done comparative theories. And really what I was thinking about was I was just trying to get underneath what was driving the negative cycle. Back then, I didn't even have words for that. Right. And so my supervisor said, "You're doing EFT." So then I presented with my then supervisor at the MNCEFT conference on self-a-therapist and countertransference, and there was a little table set up in the Minnesota EFT community, and there was Kurt, and my supervisor signed up for it, and so then I signed up and I started to go to the group consults.
Oh wow.
And I fell in love with EFT, and then I dragged my husband to a Hold Me Tight, and that's how I started getting involved in EFT. And I was just, and then I attended the externship in 2012, and then 2014 I became a supervisor, and then, became a certified therapist, and then 2016 I became a supervisor, and I think that's what it is, something like that. And then that's what's happening with me now.
Wow. So it was love at first sight.
Well, I think
with
it
EFT.
was.
Yeah. It sounds like it came instinctually to you, or intuitively, maybe is a better word, in your work. And then, you heard about it from your supervisor, and lo and behold, at MNCEFT, there is Kurt Weichel, and you learn about our Minnesota community, and you are off to the races.
Exactly. And I think for me, I always had this feeling that, like, I wanted, in graduate school, I just wanted the deep work. And I think it's like I was drawn to it because CBT to me is not deep. Oh, just think about this or whatever. That never made sense to me. It made sense more that the emotion is what drove people. So that's just how I guess I was born that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you were made for it.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, thanks for sharing that part of your journey here.
Yeah.
It's always fun to hear about. So Renee, my next question for you is, what was your most challenging part of learning EFT? And then what is your growth edge now at your level of experience?
So the most challenging for me was working with emotion and doing withdrawal re-engagement. I think that's working with withdrawers to try to access emotion and how
Mm-hmm.
to open up the emotion, I think was the hardest thing for me. How do I work with it? And I think it took me a long time to understand that I needed to contain the pursuer and expand the withdrawer. And that was something that was that was really hard for me, because I think sometimes I would expand the pursuer and I would shut down the withdrawer and things like that. So the withdrawal
Yeah.
engagement was the hardest thing for me to learn, I think. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
I think a lot of us struggle with that.
yeah. I think that's a pretty common. I think it's a pretty common problem. And my growth edge right now, I joke and I say this sort of in a goofy way. I always say I suck with individuals. And so I think, I think that for me, the individual, the EFIT is something that I'm really learning, and I'm doing some supervision around EFIT
Mhm.
with some supervisees, and I'm doing some for myself. And so I'm just learning how EFIT works in the greater scheme of things. So that's kind of what my
Right.
growth edge is right now.
Oh, interesting. Well,
Yeah.
you're right on par with Sue Johnson
Yeah.
as we've learned, as she's really making that the focus of her clinical work. So,
Yeah. I don't know that it's my focus, but it is something that I'm trying to learn and figure out.
right.
Working with an individual in the room, and then I'm the attachment figure and accessing the emotion and having them do the enactments to themselves is, or with their attachment figure. It's just, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah, it's
something to
different,
learn.
but it's
Yeah. It's
yeah,
different. Yeah. Yeah.
a new thing to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So, Renee, tell me about one of your best moments in an EFT therapy session.
Oh, um, I've had some really wonderful moments, but I think my favorite moment, and I still have this on tape, is so I had a couple. It was the opposite of what is typically. He was the pursuer, she was the withdrawer. So, and she was a really trauma survivor, withdrawer,
Yeah.
and her. So here she is. She was an engaged withdrawer, and she had told him that he was too emotional and she hated his emotions, and to get him to finally say his attachment need was, I need to know that you don't think I'm too emotional, she
Oh,
got up out of her chair and she went and hugged him in his lap, and they sat in the chair together, and she sat on his lap and she threw her arms around him, and I was just crying. It was a really great moment, and I just sat there and I was like, oh my god. So that was a bonding moment, and it was just like, I was like, wow. Another part of that is, I think, related to the withdrawal re-engagement and pursuer softening, is whenever you're doing it, you do have to process the fears first. And the first time it happened to me, I was like, oh my God, the model works. The
it
fears are
works.
coming up. The fears of engagement are coming up. And then right away, you process the fears, and then the need emerges. And I was just like, oh my God, this is the mini theory. So
This
I don't know,
works.
to me, it works. And so that was super exciting for me. And it was, so I guess those are the two moments for me.
Wow, and I can see how much that touched you, because I can see the emotion that you feel as you
Yeah.
even talk
Yeah.
about it right now. Present
Yeah.
processing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
It is present processing. Yeah. It feels really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like an incredible moment.
It was lovely. Yeah. It was
And
really cool.
gratifying to experience as a therapist who helped make that happen.
Yeah. I think all of us live for those bonding moments.
We
And that's
do.
what we do. Right. Because you're like, oh God, when they come in and they're so escalated, those bonding moments, it's just like, give me a bonding moment. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep,
Yeah.
to make my
Yeah.
day, get me through the
Yeah.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So my next question for you is a fun question, I think.
Oh, I
We all
like this. Okay.
we all have
Like,
these moments. I like to call them EFT Hall of Shame moments, or EFT bloopers. Where you just are like, what did I just do? or what just
Yeah.
happened here? And so it would be great if you could share with us one of those moments for you, so that the rest of us who don't have the experience or training that you have can see how really all of us are learners and struggle and maybe feel bad about our own Hall of Shame moments.
I have had many Hall of Shame moments. I'm going to tell you one that's EFT related and one that's just a general therapy one. That's a huge, that's a huge one.
Okay, great.
So I went to the bathroom once before a couple, and I
Yeah.
had to use the bathroom, and I was wearing a dress, and it was a brand new couple. And
Yeah.
I did my whole thing. And then the guy at the end of the session said, I just want you to know that your dress is tucked into your nylons. And I had a trail of toilet paper.
No way.
I had a trail.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a trail of toilet paper. And I was just like, oh my God. Anyway, it turned out I had a really great relationship with the couple eventually, because we all had a great laugh, and that was really fun.
Right.
So that
And
was,
your humanity came through.
yes, it was really funny with the toilet paper sticking out. So that
Yeah.
was one of them. Another one, and this is like the worst. Brand new couple. It's an affair couple.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept calling. So the female, let's call her Jane, but the affair partner's name was Emily. And I kept calling her Emily, and she kept wincing. And at
Oh
the end of the
no.
session, she's like, my name is Jane. His affair partner was Emily.
Oh my goodness. Ouch.
And that, I mean, it happened. I mean, that was terrible. It was that was awful.
I
So
bet
I
it
didn't
was.
write it
I've done
down.
that too. I've done something similar. That
Yeah,
is the worst.
that was the very worst. That's a major blooper.
Get
So
out
that was
your salt box and just pour it on. Pour it on the
pour
wound.
it on. Yeah, it was terrible. It was awful.
Oh,
Yeah, so that was that one. There you go.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
My
good one.
humanity showed. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that here with us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So my
Okay.
final question for you, Renee, is not EFT related. It's an important question that I want to know, and I think our viewers would want to know. During this pandemic, what are you binge watching?
Oh,
And what is your go-to comfort food?
okay. Wow. These are good. Okay, so I just finished watching um Little Fires Everywhere, and I loved it. It was with Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, and it was about, I loved it. I was obsessed with it, and I couldn't stop. So that was really rich. It has a lot of great stuff, and I won't say anything in case people want to watch it, but I loved it. It's a Hulu show.
I watched it too, and I loved it. In fact, didn't
Oh
I
my
tell
God.
you about it?
You are the one, I think that you're the one that
Yeah.
suggested it to me. So that
Yes.
was really great and really enjoyable. So I've been binge watching that, and I love hearing that question. In terms of like, so what have I been eating? And this has been really interesting because I don't do this at my office, but I've been eating almonds and bananas. I don't know why, but in between every session or whatever, I've been hungry, and I've been just eating a lot of eating almonds and bananas like as a treat for myself. Like it just, I don't know why, but almonds, just raw almonds, I've been just eating a ton. So
You're going the healthy route.
well, I
A
guess,
lot
I
of
don't
people,
know.
that's not what I'm binge watching. Binge eating
Binge-
or yeah.
You've been doing bread, because you're always
Yes.
saying they're making bread every day.
And Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, this is last night. I said to him, we had pizza last night. I just was
Yeah.
like, um, we ordered a pizza. We've really been cooking a lot, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, almonds and bananas. It's a weird combination. I don't really like bananas that much, but the combination is something really
They
great.
taste good together, like chocolate and peanut
Yeah.
butter.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's like a nice combination. Lisa, I hope when it's your turn for the interview, I hope to be the interviewer. or maybe Kurt
Yeah, I
and I
would
can
love to
interview
have you
you.
interview. Yeah, I would love to have
Yeah,
you interview
yeah,
me. Um,
yeah.
so Renee, I know you've got a client, so I'll wrap up here, but I guess I just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to let me and your viewers just get this little snippet of your life in EFT. It's been great to be with you and hear about your journey. And I'll just make a little plug for Renee. She's a fantastic therapist and
Oh, thank you.
supervisor. Um, and yeah, it's been great to be here with you, Renee. Thanks so much.
Well, so yeah, I want to say two things. First of all, Lisa, thank you so much for your dedication and time to the community, and for your time that you're doing this, so that that some of the people in the community get to know us as therapists. So I really appreciate that. I mean, you're working really hard for the community. I appreciate your
Thank
dedication.
you.
And
As do
what I want to
you.
say to yeah, thank you. And what I also want to say to people is, yes, the model of EFT is hard to learn, but there's great rewards for people. As I always say, I'm a better wife, mother, friend, um, uh, therapist, hopefully supervisor. And
You
I feel
are.
like EFT has really made me into a better person once I understood attachment and how important it is. So,
Yes.
and yeah, and I own a group practice, and all of us do all EFT. So, you know, if you're interested and you want to join us and be one of the clinicians in our practice, we'd love to have you if you're interested. So,
Okay, and
okay.
I'll post your information after this.
Okay, that sounds
After
great.
we conclude the interview. So for anyone who wants to
Okay.
get in touch with Renee. Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you on the screen soon.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'm going to run. I have a client right now.
All
Thanks.
right,
Thanks,
take care.
Lisa. See you
Thanks so
later.
much,
Bye-bye.
Renee. Bye-bye.